Welcome back to my channel, Celeb Buzz. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. After 49 years, the Samala puzzle was finally figured out, and it's scarier than we thought. Sal Mineo was born Salvatore on January 10th, 1939 in the Bronx, New York. He was the son of people from Sicily who worked really hard to take care of their big family. When he was very young, Mineo was really good at acting and singing. By the time he was 10 years old, he was already acting on stage. He was even in a big Broadway play called The King and I, where he played the Crown Prince next to a famous actor named Yul Brynner. This early time in the theater world not only made his acting skills better, but also taught him how hard it was to be a real actor. Mineo's big break came when he was just 16 years old. He got picked to play John Plato Crawford in the famous 1955 James Dean movie called Rebel Without a Cause. In the movie, Mineo acted really well as a sad, sensitive teenager who felt alone and left out. His acting was so good that people watching the movie and movie critics really liked it. He had great chemistry with Dean, and many people today think his character was one of the first gay teenagers shown in 1950 S movies. This was really brave and unusual in a time when being gay was kept secret. For this role, Mineo got nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. This made him one of the youngest actors ever to get nominated for an Oscar. The years after that made Mineo famous as both a teen heartthrob and a serious actor. He often got picked for roles that showed off his strong emotions, dark, handsome looks, and sad, mysterious personality. Movies like Giant in 1956, Crime in the Streets in 1956, and the Gene Krupa Story in 1959 were added to his list of movies. In 1960, he got another Oscar nomination for his acting in Exodus, where he played a Jewish person who survived the Holocaust. This was another role that showed how good he was at playing characters with deep, painful emotions. But even when he was most famous, Mineo had big problems. As he got older and couldn't play teenager roles anymore, Hollywood's way of always giving actors the same type of roles and the movie industry's uncomfortable feelings about his rumored gayness started to limit what parts he could get. By the late 1000s, 960-ish, Mineo found himself being pushed aside in Hollywood. He was openly gay in his private life and was one of the few male actors of his time to live honestly when doing so meant it could ruin his career. His refusal to act like the traditional Hollywood idea of what a man should be cost him many roles. But instead of giving up, Mineo turned to stage plays and directing, proving he could do many different things well. He appeared in and directed several theater shows, including the Los Angeles show of Fortune and Men's Eyes, a controversial play about sexuality and prison violence. This showed Mineo's bravery in dealing with difficult and often forbidden topics. By the early 1970s, Sal Mineo, who used to be a teenage heartthrob and Academy Award nominated actor, was working hard to change himself into a serious artist beyond Hollywood's habit of giving him the same types of roles. In December 1972, he took a bold and surprising jump into the world of opera by directing The Medium, a scary short opera written by Giancarlo. The show was held in Detroit and was very different from Mineo's earlier mainstream movie roles, with opera singer Muriel Costa Greenspan powerfully playing the role of Madame Flora, a troubled fake psychic, and Mo himself playing Toby, her silent, tortured servant. The show gave him a chance to show his artistic vision behind the scenes while still making a big impact on stage. It was a role he took very seriously, showing his desire to challenge audiences and go beyond his youthful image. Mo's love for dark, complicated characters continued in 1975 when he went back to television in a scary role on NBC's hit mystery show, Columbo. In the exciting episode called A Case of Immunity, Mineo played Rachman Habib, the assistant to a mean and sneaky government official from a made-up Middle Eastern country played by Hector Elizondo. The episode was full of political secrets, and Mineo's detailed acting reminded viewers of his range and depth as a character actor, far different from the hurt, misunderstood teenagers he used to play. That same year, he appeared in what would become one of his last television roles, a guest appearance on the popular crime show SWAT. In this disturbing episode, M.O. played a charming but dangerous cult leader whose crazy ideas and hypnotic control over his followers were clearly similar to the notorious Charles Manson. It was a daring role that tapped into America's lingering fear of manipulative people hiding behind perfect facades. Once again, it showed Mineo's willingness to take on provocative material that many actors might be scared to try. By 1976, after years of struggling with the industry's unwillingness to cast him in meaningful roles, Mineo was starting to experience a promising career comeback. He got great reviews for his fearless portrayal of a bisexual burglar in the black comedy stage play P.S. Your Cat is Dead, performed first in San Francisco. The show let Mineo explore themes of sexuality, vulnerability, and power struggles, topics that were still considered edgy for the time. The play's success, boosted by a wave of enthusiastic reviews and feature articles, made the public interested in Mineo's talents again and hinted at a full comeback. Riding this new momentum, he moved with the production to Los Angeles, eager to further establish himself as a real stage actor, unafraid to confront controversial material. For Mineo, this was more than just another role. It was a personal and professional reawakening, proving he still had something important to say as an artist and as a man who had always lived on the edge of Hollywood's spotlight. In 1960, while filming Otto Premier's epic drama Exodus, Sal Mineo met English-born actress Jill Howarth, who had been cast as Karen Hansen Clement, a young Jewish refugee and love interest to Emo's character Dav Landau. Their chemistry on screen turned into a deep personal bond off-screen. Despite their young ages, Mineo was just 21 and Howarth only 15 at the time. Their connection quickly grew into a complicated romantic relationship that would last for years. Though their relationship was often marked by fights and emotional ups and downs, the two shared an intense love and understanding of each other. This was likely rooted in the demanding and lonely nature of their shared profession. Both were dealing with fame at a young age, and their bond became something of a lifeline amid the pressures of Hollywood. Their romance was characterized by periods of passionate love followed by emotional distance, and it evolved over time into a pattern of being together and breaking up. Despite the inconsistencies in their romantic involvement, Mineo and Howarth became engaged to be married at one point during the height of their relationship. The engagement seemed to represent a desire on Mineo's part to fit in with normal expectations, perhaps both to stop public guessing about his private life and to settle into some kind of stability. However, this planned marriage would never happen. According to Sal Mineo, a biography by Michael Greg Michaud, Howarth suddenly called off the engagement after finding Mo in a compromising sexual situation with another man. The discovery was a turning point not only in their romantic relationship, but in how Howarth came to understand Mineo's complicated sexuality. Though the engagement ended and though the discovery was emotionally painful for her, Howarth chose not to cut ties with Mineo. Instead, she showed remarkable loyalty and compassion by staying a close friend and trusted confidant to him for the rest of his life. Their lasting friendship stood as proof of the depth of their bond and the mutual respect that survived the collapse of their romantic dreams. Mineo, for his part, was fiercely protective of Howarth. He often acted with an almost brotherly intensity when it came to her well-being and romantic choices. His protective instincts became especially obvious during her brief relationship with television producer Aaron Spelling, who was over 20 years older than her. Mo deeply disapproved of this pairing, believing it to be inappropriate due to the big age gap and what he saw as a potential imbalance of power and experience. His concern escalated to an emotional and impulsive confrontation one evening at a private Beverly Hills nightclub. Upon seeing Howarth with Spelling, Mo reportedly lost control. In a moment fueled by jealousy, concern, and a sense of betrayal, he confronted Spelling and punched him square in the face. Witnesses remembered that Mo shouted, "Do you know how old she is? What are you doing with her at your age?" The incident revealed the depths of his emotional investment in Howarth's life and perhaps his unresolved feelings for her. It also reflected Mineo's inner turmoil, caught between his love for Howarth, his own unacknowledged or hidden sexuality, and the pressure to maintain public appearances in a judgmental era. By the later years of his life, Mineo had come to embrace his identity more openly, at least within his personal circle. At the time of his tragic death in 1976, he was in a committed long-term relationship with actor and acting coach Courtney Burr III. Their partnership had lasted 6 years and provided Mineo with emotional stability, creative companionship, and a quiet, private home life. Burr, who was also a respected figure in the acting world, offered Momano a kind of support and understanding that escaped him in many of his earlier relationships. Though their relationship was not publicly known to many at the time, those close to Mo regarded Burr as an important part of his life. The love they shared was deeply meaningful to Mano, and it stood in stark contrast to the years of romantic confusion and public scrutiny he had endured. Burr would later speak about Mo with warmth and admiration, describing him as a deeply sensitive, generous, and complicated man whose public persona never quite captured the fullness of his private soul. For decades, the tragic murder of actor Sal Mineo remained one of the most haunting unsolved cases in Hollywood history, clouded by mystery, guessing, and a tangle of theories that never quite made sense. Known for his sensitive, groundbreaking roles in films such as Rebel Without a Cause and Exodus, Mo was not just a teen idol, he was a deeply talented performer whose career had seen a big comeback in the years leading up to his untimely death. On the night of February 12, 1976, the 37-year-old actor was returning to his apartment in West Hollywood after a rehearsal for the play P.S. Your Cat is Dead, in which he had just landed a lead role. As he stepped out of his car and walked toward his building, he was viciously attacked and fatally stabbed in the heart in a dark alleyway just feet from the safety of his own home. The sudden and brutal nature of the murder sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and devastated his fans. Initial rumors were everywhere. Was it a mugging gone wrong? Was it connected to Mino's sexuality, which he had kept mostly private but was beginning to live more openly? Was it a hate crime, professional jealousy, or even something more sinister involving powerful people in Hollywood who felt threatened by Mino's outspoken personality and growing activism? In the early days of the investigation, law enforcement was overwhelmed with conflicting witness accounts, vague leads, and dead ends. The lack of forensic technology at the time also made solving the case all the more difficult. For years, the identity of the killer remained unknown, and the police were left with nothing but guesswork and a public growing more frustrated with each passing year. Then, in a stunning turn of events, nearly 2 years after the murder, a breakthrough finally came. But it would take decades more for the public to truly reckon with the dark reality behind Mino's death. In 1979, a young man named Lionel Ray Williams, a 21-year-old pizza delivery driver from Michigan, was arrested for an unrelated robbery in Los Angeles. During questioning, authorities discovered that Williams had also been boasting to others about being involved in the stabbing of a famous actor. Under mounting pressure and with growing evidence, including a witness who saw someone matching his description fleeing the scene, Williams was charged and ultimately convicted of Mano's murder. He was sentenced to 57 years in prison. However, even with the conviction, many who had followed the case felt that questions still lingered. Williams had no known connection to Mano, and many believed his motive, robbery, did not align with the fact that Mano's wallet and valuables were left untouched. Why would a petty criminal attack a stranger with such lethal precision and not even steal anything? Did Williams act alone, or was he a pawn in something larger? Perhaps an orchestrated crime that the justice system either ignored or covered up. Mano's friends and some crime experts suggested that deeper motives may have been at play, and a veil of suspicion continued to hang over the official story for decades. Then, 50 years after Sal Mineo's death, new documents emerged. New police files, court transcripts, and testimonies long buried under bureaucratic neglect and red tape. These materials reignited public interest in the case and revealed that crucial evidence had been overlooked or outright ignored. Among the most disturbing revelations was the suggestion that Williams may have been hired to carry out the attack or manipulated into doing so as a scapegoat. Internal memos from the original investigation hinted at interference from individuals with ties to organized crime, and even Hollywood insiders who allegedly wanted Mano silenced for reasons ranging from financial disputes to fears that he might expose certain figures for their closeted homosexuality or other scandals. Even worse, some reports suggested that police had received tips early on that pointed toward this deeper conspiracy but failed to follow up, either due to incompetence, prejudice against monosexuality, or pressure from higher-ups not to stir the pot. The Los Angeles Police Department, already under scrutiny in the 1970s for corruption, racial bias, and poor handling of celebrity cases, quietly closed the file once Williams was convicted, despite the fact that many inconsistencies remained unresolved. To the modern observer, the final twist in the Sal Mineo case isn't just that justice took so long, it's that even now, justice might not have been fully served. While Lionel Ray Williams remains in prison, possibly the only person ever to pay for the crime, the full scope of what happened to Sal Mineo may never be completely known. What we do know half a century later is that this was more than a random killing. It was a tragedy fueled by fear, intolerance, negligence, and perhaps hidden agendas that ensured one of Hollywood's brightest stars was forever silenced under a shroud of ambiguity. The case of Sal Mineo remains not only a tale of loss, but a chilling reminder of how truth can be delayed, distorted, or buried altogether, and how the worst part of a mystery is often not the unanswered question, but the answers that were purposefully ignored.